Hey there, Mike here with Cinesamples. We're excited to show you our new orchestral sketch tool, CineSymphony Lite. CineSymphony Lite was designed with two basic functions in mind. One, we wanted to provide a solid orchestral library for up-and-coming composers and students. And two, we also wanted to create a library that's a complete orchestral sketch tool for the professional composer working on a remote rig or laptop. This library is lightweight in size, measuring it at 2 gigabytes in total. It actually contains everything a composer needs to create high-quality sketches of their music right out of the box and with no sampler software required. It's very light on resources and RAM. So let's get right to the patches. CineSymphony Lite is comprised of 6 ensemble patches, with the ability to isolate and alter the ranges of the individual sections that make up each ensemble patch. We have a strings ensembles arco, strings ensembles pizzicato, brass ensemble, woodwind ensemble, a timpani patch, and a percussion ensemble patch. Let's start with the strings ensemble arco. So I'm going to quickly go through all the patches just to kind of give you an idea of how things sound and how things are programmed. And then I'm going to go into more detail discussing some of the more advanced functions. So here is the strings ensemble arco. So those are the shorts, and all the patches have shorts and longs. In the case of strings, we have spiccatos and sustains. The way it's mapped by default, if you play play hard, you know, you get the sustains. Play short, you get the, or play lightly, you get the shorts. And there's different ways you can map it, of course. We have the velocity map, which is the default, and then the key switch map, which if you play harder, you get the more... Right, and that's just the shorts, and then if I press the low A here, we're in sustain mode, right? So let's just move right on. That's strings ensemble arco, strings ensemble pizzicato. This is a very important patch to have. Now we have brass ensemble. Right? So trumpets and the horns are in the middle, and I love this patch. Woodwind ensembles. Again, we have the shorts and the longs. Right. So here's the quieter dynamics, you know. Here's the key switch map. So we're just in sustain mode now. Okay, then we have a timpani patch. And you definitely need a timpani patch in an orchestral library. And this is the way it's mapped. You got the range of the timpani here, but then we've also duplicated it up here, so it allows you to do some, rolls. A little easier to play it that way than sort of playing it on one key, right? And then finally, we have a percussion ensemble light patch, okay? And this is kind of like, I don't know if you remember back in General MIDI days, if you set your sequencer or whatever to channel 10, it would be sort of this General MIDI mapping of a full percussion section. It's not exactly like the same mapping, but it's a similar concept. So down here we have the bass drums. Then we have snares here. We have 4 toms, right? And then there's a djembe here. A bongo. And then we have shaker. It's cool. I mean, you could. It's kind of a longer shaker. And then we have. This is a pulley sticks. So. So, kind of really. There's your percussion section. You're done, right? And that's a shorter. Okay, and then we have wood blocks, castanets. That's a suspended cymbal hit with a mallet. Suspended cymbal roll, which Jerry Goldsmith hated. And then there's the crash cymbal. It's a tam-tam hit. A tam-tam crescendo. Triangle. And a tambourine. Now, on the far edges of the mapping, we have some, down here we have tubular bells. Okay, and then up here we have glockenspiel. All right, so that's a basic run through of the patches. Now, let's go back to the first one and talk about the strings ensemble Arco advanced controls. So, traditionally, there's other developers out there. There's some really great ensemble patches that you can get. But the downside to some of them is you don't have control or flexibility over the way that it's mapped out. So, for example, let's take a look at the way it's mapped currently. Let's go back to our. Right. So the way it's mapped, you got the basses starting their low C, right? As we go up and we get to C1, that's where the cellos start. And cellos continue through to where the violas start, which is on F2. That's this note right here. Go up, and the violins start around G3. And you hear there's a little bit of a kind of a crossfade as you move up to keep it kind of smooth. And then it's violins all the way to the top. Now let's mess around with sort of the ranges a little bit. Let's say you're working on something here. You're going, I don't know. Something like that. So right now we have, violas and violins on the top, and the cellos are kind of in the middle here, and then the low celli and double basses are down here. But if you wanted, you can increase or raise the where the cellos and the violas start. Let's go up a little bit. So this is, obviously, it's the bottom range of the viola, but it's also, this is the top range of the cello. So let's raise it up to like a, a D and play the same thing. All right, so you get that nice strident cello sound, right? And it's kind of like they're playing in fourth position up on their A string. And you don't really have much violas in there at all. So going back to how it was. So it's just a different sound. And what you can do is you can save different patches for different types of ensembles that you might want to have. And the other cool trick you can do, and I'll move on to some of the other instruments here, is if you wanted, you can actually isolate just the violas and have a patch that's just violas, and isolate just the cellos and have a patch that's just the cellos. So it gives you that added flexibility. Now, let's talk about this chord arranger. This is cool. What this does, this is basically, it's a virtual orchestrator, if you will. So say you're playing a chord. Let's just, here's just a C major chord, right? Now, say you gave this ensemble patch to an orchestrator, and he's like, okay, I got to orchestrate this for a group. He's going to assign these notes to the different sections of the orchestra, right? He's going to have violins, maybe, violas, cellos, and basses down here. So when it's set to light mode, you have one section per note. So here we have, it's going to be violins, viola, and cellos. Violin, viola, viola, cello, double bass. So it will orchestrate it for you, basically. One section per note. Now, if you set it to medium, it's going to give you a much more fuller type of an orchestration where you have two sections doubling a note. Sometimes you'll want to have the violins and violas on the same note, or, the violins or the violas and the cellos together on the same note. So here's the same chord. So we got violin and viola, violin and viola, violin, viola, violin, viola, cello and viola, cello and double bass. It's a much fuller sound. Two sections per note. All right. And then on heavy, this is just every possible section that can play that note, that's within the range of that note, will play. So this is the thickest. That's the fullest sound. Right? And then by default, it's just sort of like your standard MIDI mapping. Cool. Let me show you how that sounds with the brass. So this is the brass ensemble. And so let's mess around with the ranges. So we have tuba, trombones, and then horns come in, and then the trumpets come in, right? But let's just extend, let's go crazy here, and let's just like not have the trumpets in there at all. And the tuba can be way down, start on the slowest note, and then let's have trombone, let's have the top note of the trombone, which is this one, go all the way there, and let's actually nix. Well, the top note of the trombone can be, let's say, C sharp 1. So basically you have, in this case, just the horns. Or we can increase the trombone, just mess around with. Right? Or let's have the trumpets. We need the trumpets. Let's do like this. So there are all these different kind of tonal sounds you can get, and it could be fun to experiment with different mappings and create your own patches for a variety of scenarios. Okay. And then we have the woodwinds ensemble. I'll go through how that sounds with the, So let's let's ditch the flute. So by ditching the flute, the lowest note, you just have the lowest note be way up there, and so you can have, maybe a clarinet-dominated ensemble patch. Right? Or you can have an oboe-dominated ensemble patch. See? So you can have a lot of fun with this and finding the exact color you're looking for. CineSymphony Lite also comes with a variety of multis. We have 5 multis, and I'm going to walk through them now. Here's the first one. It's called CineSymphony Lite Auto Arranger On. Now this multi it's just all of the instruments loaded with the Auto Arranger tool automatically turned on. Just a quick way of loading up the whole library. Now let's look at this one's called Light Cartoon. So it's basically pizzicato and woodwinds. This next one's called Wind Symphony. So this one is mostly brass and woodwinds. And then the last two are just quick ways to load up the rest of the library. This is for the velocity mapping, and this one is for the key switch mapping. So those are the multis. Well, that's it for the walkthrough. I hope you enjoy it. In the next video, I'm actually going to do another live composition screencast. So click below. I think I'm going to put it there. And you can watch that. And if you want to find out more information about the library, click up there, and that'll take you to our website. So thanks for watching. Have a good day.